Welcome back to the Deep Dive. So today we're digging into something pretty interesting that just came out from EON Reality.
Ah, yes, EON. They're quite well known in the AI and XR space, especially for knowledge transfer, training within organizations.
Exactly, that institutional focus, sort of business to business.
Yeah,
But this news we're looking at, based on a recent press release, seems like a pretty significant shift for them.
it really is. They're making a clear move away from only serving institutions and are now aiming directly at individual learners globally.
So a B2C play. Business to consumer.
That's right. A big pivot.
Okay, so that's our mission for this deep dive then. Let's unpack what this new platform actually is, and
Right.
importantly, why now. The release mentions a global learning crisis, so we need to understand that context.
Mm-hmm. And ultimately, what it could mean for you, the listener, as an individual learner out there.
Exactly. We'll stick closely to what's in the press release, aiming for a clear, concise look at this development.
Sounds good. So let's start with that problem. They're positioning this against the global learning crisis.
Yeah, the language is strong. They talk about a huge number, over 2.5 billion people being underserved learners worldwide.
It's a massive figure, and the release points to a few core reasons behind this. First, you've got geographic inequality. You know, the best educational resources, especially advanced tech like XR learning, tend to be concentrated in wealthier regions.
Right, so where you happen to live plays a huge role in what you can access.
Definitely. Then there are the economic hurdles. High costs just put quality learning, particularly immersive tech, out of reach for so many.
Cost is always a factor.
And the third thing is scalability. Traditional education models, even the online ones, often struggle to scale effectively to reach truly massive audiences globally.
So putting it together, it sounds like they're saying access isn't really based on motivation or talent, but more on your location and your wallet.
That's the picture they paint. Gillians are essentially locked out from these potentially transformative learning technologies.
Which creates this divide, this difficult choice. Pay a lot, maybe for limited access, or just miss out entirely on these kinds of engaging learning experiences.
Exactly, and they see this huge pool of potential learners who are motivated but just can't get in the door currently.
Okay, so that sets the stage for EON Reality's proposed solution, this new platform aimed at consumers.
Yeah, and this is where it gets quite unique. They're calling it the world's first freemium XR education ecosystem.
Freemium. Okay, so free is the key part there.
That's the foundation. The core idea is universal access. You get into the platform, access the learning content for free, supported by advertising.
Like many apps or websites we use daily.
Pretty much. But then, of course, there are premium options. You can pay for upgrades, maybe get rid of the ads, unlock extra features.
Standard freemium model, but applied to immersive XR education.
Yeah.
Interesting. What's powering it technically?
They highlight two main things. AI-driven personalization, tailoring the experience to the individual user, and their own proprietary spatial AI technology. That's what drives the actual XR content, the simulations, the interactive bits. They also mention something called Brainy AI for virtual mentorship.
Brainy AI mentors. Let's dig into the features then. What does the actual learning look like on this platform?
Well, they describe it as pretty comprehensive. First, there's the immersive XR content itself. Unlimited access, they say, to thousands of learning modules.
Thousands. Across what kind of subjects?
A really wide range. Things like technology, obviously healthcare, manufacturing, business skills, even creative areas.
Yeah.
And the key is that spatial AI, it makes these experiences interactive, like realistic simulations.
You're not just watching a video, you're actually doing things within the virtual environment.
That's the idea, hands-on learning virtually. And then alongside that content, there's the Brainy AI mentorship you mentioned.
Right, the virtual tutor.
Yeah, presented as an intelligent tutoring system. These virtual mentors are apparently designed to personalize guidance based on your learning style, your pace, even career goals you might set.
Like having a guide available anytime.
Kind of. Offering contextual support within the XR experience and making recommendations for what to learn next.
Okay, content and guidance. What else?
There's also a community aspect. Tools for global collaboration, think forums, study groups, maybe shared project spaces, connecting learners across borders.
Building a network. And you mentioned premium tiers earlier. What do they unlock?
Right. So if you pay, you can get access to a detailed analytics dashboard.
Tracking your progress.
Exactly. Skill assessments, progress tracking, mapping your competencies, and even getting data-driven suggestions for career paths based on the skills you're building.
That sounds quite useful.
Yeah.
So how is this all structured? The free versus the paid?
They lay out a 3-tier architecture. Tier 1 is freemium.
Okay.
Unlimited access to the core XR learning library, supported by what they call relevant educational advertising.
Educational advertising.
They mention partners like universities, potential employers, tech companies. The idea, they stress, is that it's brand safe, relevant to your learning interests, maybe showing you a relevant degree program or a job opening and not disruptive. AI helps target these.
Okay, so ads designed to potentially add value, not just annoy.
That seems to be the goal. Tier 2 is basic premium. This gets you things like an ad-free experience, which many will want, plus those detailed progress analytics we talked about, and crucially, unlimited offline downloads. That's key for accessibility in regions with spotty internet.
Good point. And the top tier?
That's plus premium. This is pitched as the full learning acceleration package. You get the most advanced AI personalization, access to virtual tutoring sessions with those brainy AI mentors, clear pathways to industry certifications, and more direct career advancement support.
And pricing? Is it one size fits all globally?
No, they explicitly state the pricing for premium tiers will be flexible and adapted to regional economic conditions. That's crucial for making the paid options genuinely accessible worldwide, not just in rich countries.
So that combination adds on the free tier, tiered subscriptions with regional pricing. That's the sustainability plan.
Seems to be. The press release outlines 3 main revenue streams. 1, educational advertising income from those partnerships. 2, subscription revenue from basic and plus premium, providing that predictable income.
With regional pricing making it viable.
Exactly. And the third stream is interesting. Data insights.
Selling user data.
Not individual user data. They're very clear on that. It's aggregated and anonymized learning analytics. So insights about broad trends like skill gaps in a certain region or popular learning paths sold to institutions, governments, organizations focused on workforce planning.
Okay, so trend data, not personal data. They emphasize privacy compliance, like GDPR.
Yes, they specifically mention compliance with standards like GDPR and COPA to ensure individual privacy is protected while still generating value from the aggregated data.
Got it. So bringing all this together, what do they see as their big advantages? Why do they think this specific approach will work?
They position themselves as pretty unique, claiming this is the only platform offering this combination. Freemium access, institutional quality XR content, AI personalization, and global reach.
That's a bold claim. What backs it up, according to them?
They list a few key things. First, their deep institutional expertise. They've been doing this for institutions for over 25 years. That gives them a library and a level of quality, they argue, that's hard for newcomers to match.
Building on decades of experience. Makes sense.
Second, that proprietary spatial AI technology. They see it as a technical moat, a barrier for competitors.
Right.
Third, network effects. This is classic platform logic. The more people use it, the better it gets for everyone. The community grows, the AI learns faster from more data, the advertising becomes more targeted and valuable.
Right, a virtuous cycle.
Yeah.
More users equals more value.
Precisely. Which ties into the fourth point. AI improvement. They call it a data flywheel. All the learning data constantly feeds back into the system, refining the AI mentors, improving the learning paths, making the workforce insights richer. It benefits all users and partners over time.
So the system learns as the users learn. Beyond the business side, what about the social impact they're aiming for? They started by talking about that global crisis.
Yes, they make some significant claims there. They talk about promoting educational equity, giving anyone, anywhere, regardless of income, access to this premium XR learning via the free tier, directly tackling that crisis.
So democratizing access to high-end learning tools.
That's the framing, which they say leads to creating global opportunity, making education that was once exclusive universally available.
And the hoped-for outcome of that.
Economic empowerment. The idea is that by enabling widespread skill development, especially in practical, job-focused areas, it leads to better employment, higher incomes, particularly in underserved regions, a positive economic ripple effect.
So it's not just about learning, it's about pathways to economic improvement.
That's the direct link they make. And finally, it ties into knowledge democratization, shifting away from access based on where you live or how much money you have, towards access based purely on your motivation and talent, merit-based learning.
Who exactly are they trying to reach with this? Who's the target user?
The document identifies global individual learners as the main audience, but it breaks it down a bit. They specifically highlight learners in emerging markets where free access is obviously very appealing. Then there are professional development seekers, maybe in more developed markets, looking to upskill or change careers, perhaps more likely premium users, and also just lifelong learning enthusiasts everywhere who are curious.
A pretty broad church, then. How are they planning to launch this globally? All at once?
No, it's a phased approach. Phase 1 focuses on what they call foundation markets. Think North America, Europe, developed Asia-Pacific regions, places with mature digital learning habits where they can likely get early premium adoption to help fund things.
Build a solid base first.
Exactly. Phase 2 targets scale markets. This is where the massive user numbers are India, Southeast Asia, Latin America, Africa. Here, the freemium model is key for rapid user acquisition, leveraging those huge underserved populations. Advertising revenue becomes more significant here.
Go for volume using the free tier.
And then phase 3 is optimization, basically full global coverage, refining the monetization, rolling out all the advanced AI features everywhere.
Okay, so bringing this deep dive toward a close, what's the main takeaway here?
I think the core thing is that this move by EON Reality into B2C with a freemium XR platform is genuinely ambitious. It's a serious attempt to take what's been high-end, often expensive institutional learning tech and make it accessible to potentially billions.
Right, leveraging their existing strengths, the content library, the spatial AI, but putting it into this new model with AI personalization funded by ads and subscriptions.
And all framed as a direct response to that global learning crisis, aiming to boost educational equity and create economic opportunity by dramatically lowering the barriers.
It's certainly a fascinating model, trying to balance free access with a sustainable business, especially with that educational advertising angle.
Yeah, how well that integration works will be key to watch.
It definitely leaves us with something to think about. Consider this. If high-quality, truly interactive learning becomes universally accessible, especially through these immersive XR experiences guided by smart AI, how might that fundamentally reshape not just individual careers, but the entire global distribution of skills and knowledge over the next decade?